Chapter 33 Bombing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, a rumbling sound began to appear in the sky. Read that it was not thunder. Kai Wenjie saw a fighter plane through the car window. No. It was a bomber. Taiwan Novel Network. Song E. Turn around immediately. Run. Kai Wenjie shouted wildly into the intercom, then turned the front of the bus and stepped on the accelerator. The bus began to rush in the original direction like a wild boar in heat. The Night 15 driven by Song Yi completed the turn faster than the bus and was escorting in front of the bus. In less than a minute, the bus and Night 15 had rushed forward 2 kilometers, and the zombies behind them now raised their heads and looked at the bomber group in the sky, stretching out pale arms. Grabbing the air randomly, a meaningless groan came out of the throat, in the cockpit of the bomber above. Has arrived at the target area. Confirmed zombie tide, request to drop bombs. Instructions received. Permission to drop bombs. Understood ×4. The only active bomber in service in Country Z is the H-6, usually 4 bombers in a squadron, 12 in a regiment, and 36 in a bomber division. The escort fighters of the bombers are not fixed. When in combat, they can be escorted by any one or more fighters of the J-7, J-8, J-10, J-11/Su-27 as needed. This time, the local Air Force dispatched all its assets, for H-6N and 2 escorting J-20 fighters. The H-6N bomber is an improved version of my country's H-6K bomber and is currently the most advanced bomber in the Chinese Air Force. In addition to more advanced equipment, a refueling pipe is installed on the nose of the H-6N, which means that the H-6N currently has the ability to refuel in the air. For bombers, combat radius is a very important indicator. The bomb load of the H-6N reached 10 tons, plus 6 long sword cruise missiles. The weight of an aerial bomb is 250 kilograms, which means that each bomber carries 40 bombs, and 4 bombers carry a total of 160 bombs. Following the bombing order, the bomber group began to drop 250 kilograms bombs. Boom! Boom, boom. In an instant, the place affected by the bomb turned into a blood pit. The zombies were blown to pieces by the bomb, the remains of the corpses flew everywhere, and the broken limbs of the zombies were everywhere. The land was dyed blood red by the blood of the zombies, and the air was filled with blood mist. At this time, the pilot of the J-20 fighter escorting the bomber found 2 black spots on the road below that were fleeing the bombing area. In order to confirm, the pilot of the J-20 fighter chose to descend and observe. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. This is escort number 1. We found 2 vehicles moving on the road below. Please observe them closely. Request received. Permission to leave the formation for observation. Received. After confirming the order, the J-20 fighter jet, which was originally escorting the bomber, left the flight formation, began to descend, and rushed towards Kai Wenjie's bus. Kai Wenjie, who was fleeing, heard a rumble in the sky approaching his bus quickly, but because he was driving the bus, he couldn't be distracted, so he could only shout to the people behind him. Look what is approaching us, hurry! The girls who were frightened by the explosion of the bomb had not recovered yet. And Tang Tang, who had been sitting near Kai Wenjie, started to make trouble again. Uncle, uncle. I'll do it. And Tang Tang looked at Kai Wenjie with shining eyes. Because he was sitting with his back to her, Kai Wenjie didn't know who it was. Without thinking much, he threw his military binoculars behind him. After Tang Tang caught the telescope in a fluster, she excitedly ran to the ventilation window where Kai Wenjie had drilled before. After climbing up the seat with difficulty, she spread her legs and stepped on the left and right seats with her feet. Her upper body lay on the roof of the bus through the ventilation window. When she was about to pick up the telescope to observe, with the roar of the J-20 heavy engine, it quickly passed over Tang Tang, and Tang Tang was directly stunned by the huge sound produced by the J-20 heavy engine, and her legs weakened and she fell down directly. Fortunately, Gao Hongmei was worried about Tang Tang, so she came behind her when Tang Tang climbed up the seat and caught her when Tang Tang was about to fall to the ground. At this time, Kai Wenjie also saw the fighter plane passing over the sky through the front car window and breathed a sigh of relief. because as long as he was seen, he would not be bombed by the bomber, and he was considered safe, and the fact was indeed the same as Kai Wenjie thought. The pilot of the J-20 fighter jet that passed over the bus in Night 15 returned to the battle sequence and began to report the situation to other fighter jets. Escort number 1 returns to the team and starts reporting the situation. There are 2 vehicles driving westward below, one is an armored vehicle of unknown model, and the other is a bus. There are survivors in the bus. Please stay away from the vehicles for bombing, over. Received. Recustomize the bombing range. Begin cruise bombing towards the D1 area. At this time, the vehicles driven by Kai Wenjie and Song Yi finally escaped safely from the bomber's bombing range. As the sound of the bombing gradually faded away, Kai Wenjie finally breathed a sigh of relief, or rather, everyone except Song Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Song Yi was not afraid of death because he had died once. Some of the girls on the bus cried with joy, while others hugged each other with cheers. At this time, Tang, who was stunned by the sound of the fighter engine, woke up in a daze and found that she was half lying in Gao Hongmei's towering chest, hugged by Gao Hongmei, and was a little suffocated. Ah! Let me go, I can't breathe the air. Because she felt suffocated, Tang began to move around, which made Gao Hongmei a little shy, but she didn't continue to hug Tang and let go of Tang. The released Tang sat on the seat next to her and breathed heavily, looking at Gao Hongmei with horror while exhaling. Gao Hongmei was stared at by Tang's horror eyes, and smiled a little embarrassedly. Just now when you fell, I happened to catch you and prevented you from falling. What do you mean by looking at me like this instead of thanking me? I'm angry. Gao Hongmei said with some righteousness, and Tang knew she was in the wrong and began to comfort Gao Hongmei. Oh, Sister Gao. I was wrong, please forgive me, I will never do it again, I lied to you like a puppy. Tang began to show an innocent expression, her little eyes stared at Gao Hongmei's eyes with tears, her little hand grabbed Gao Hongmei's hand and shook it gently. According to Tang's previous experience, as long as she used the trick of being cute, she could basically solve most problems. Sure enough, Gao Hongmei was stared at by Tang's tearful eyes for less than 10 seconds, and she was defeated, and touched Tang's little head with a smile. Okay, I forgive you, don't cry, dear. Really? Tang confirmed in a cute tone. Really, it's more real than real gold, and I'm not really angry, I was just teasing you just now. Chapter 34 Convenience Store. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing Gao Hongmei's firm answer, Tang rushed towards Gao Hongmei and hung on Gao Hongmei's body, with her little head hanging on Gao Hongmei's shoulder. When Gao Hongmei saw Tang rushing toward him, she quickly caught him, hugged him warmly, and touched his back, but what Gao Hongmei didn't know was that Tang smiled like a little devil in a place where Gao Hongmei couldn't see. At this time, Kai Wenjie's face looked a little unsightly. Because of the sound of bombers bombing the ground, the remaining zombies in the city were now turning into a zombie wave. Moreover, when these zombies form a zombie wave, they are blocking the road. Although there is Night 15 in front of them to open the way, they will not be stopped yet, but if the tide of corpses continues to form, sooner or later it will pose a threat to the bus. Song Yi, let's take a detour. If we rush forward like this, the car will overturn sooner or later. Turn right at the next intersection and let's cross the bridge. Receive. Song Yi answered without hesitation. What Kai Wenjie was thinking was that after crossing the bridge from the north of the city to the south of the city, most of the zombies staying in the city are basically in the north of the city. But because of the explosion, the zombies in the north of the city now began to gather and follow the road to the east of the city following the explosion. Go ahead, if Kai Wenjie does not change the lane and continues to drive straight, he will soon encounter hordes of zombies. Once Night 15 cannot break through, the bus driven by Kai Wenjie behind him will turn into an immovable iron can, waiting for the zombies. Come and eat. In order to avoid this situation, we can only break through quickly before the zombies block the road before forming a zombie wave. Cross the bridge to the south of the city, then go west from the south of the city, then return to the north of the city from the bridge below, and follow the other. A long detour leads to the military gathering point. If you look at YJ City from above, you will find that the city is shaped like Represents the north of the city. Represents the south of the city, the blank space in the middle represents the river, and the two short horizontal lines represent the upper and lower bridges. Now Song Yi, piloting the Night 15, was rapidly breaking through areas where the zombie wave had not yet formed. He knocked away countless zombies along the way. Anyway, what Kai Wenjie knew was that his points had exceeded 10,000 again. Kai Wenjie drove the bus closely behind Night 15. Although the bus was taller than Night 15, it would be forced to stop once it broke away from Night XV's cover and could not walk more than a few steps. After all, one is a bus and the other is an armored vehicle. There is no comparison. When the points finally exceeded 12,000, Night 15 and the bus finally reached the intersection of the bridge. As long as they passed here, they would be safe. They passed the bridge at full speed without slowing down. The zombies who were originally chasing Kai Wenjie's bus and Song Yi Night 15 lost their target and were attracted by the explosion back to the west of the city. After arriving at the south of the city, Kai Wenjie breathed a sigh of relief. Before Kai Wenjie could relax, Song Yi in front of him began to speak. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Chief, I'm almost out of gas. I need to replenish it. Okay, I just happen to be going to refill the gas. Let's go to the gas station to fill up first. Yes. Kai Wenjie remembered that there were 4 gas stations in the south of the city. The nearest one was less than 1 kilometer away from the bus, and it took less than a minute to reach the gas station. Song Yi drove in first, followed closely by Kai Wenjie, and the 2 cars stopped in front of the gas pump. After Kai Wenjie stopped the car, he took out the key, stood up and spoke to Professor Dong sitting behind him. The car is out of gas now. I'm going to refuel. For your own safety, stay in the car and don't come out. There may be zombies nearby. If you feel the air is stuffy, open the ventilation window above. After Kai Wenjie finished speaking and was about to go down, and Tang raised her hand again, squeezed out of Gao Hongmei's arms, and ran to Kai Wenjie. Report, uncle, you didn't take your telescope. After saying that, she took out the telescope that Kai Wenjie gave her and handed it to Kai Wenjie with both hands. Kai Wenjie looked down at the little one, smiled with the expression hidden in the mask, and said softly. Thanks. Then he picked up the telescope and hung it in its original place. Go back and sit down. I'll go fill up the tank and come back. After saying that, Kai Wenjie turned around and got out of the car, but Tang grabbed Kai Wenjie's arm. Kai Wenjie turned back to look at Tang in confusion, and Tang, who grabbed Kai Wenjie and refused to get out of the car, blushed and shouted to Kai Wenjie that she was hungry. Uncle, it's almost lunch time. I'm hungry. Can you go to the store to get something to eat? Hungry? Kai Wenjie looked at her tactical watch and saw that it was indeed already 12 noon. No wonder she complained that she was hungry. He looked up at the other people in the bus and asked. Are you hungry too? Hungry. I can bear it, no need to bother. Looking at the girls who gave different answers, Kai Wenjie clearly heard that they were shouting that they were hungry. Kai Wenjie thought about it and looked at the girls behind him and said. That's it. Teachers and kitchen ants over there, come down with me and bring some food back. The others stay here. Then Kai Wenjie practiced Song Yi on the walkie-talkie and said. Song Yi, I'm going down with my people, be careful around me. Yes. Following Kai Wenjie's order, Song Yi got out of the car with a gun and began to be on guard. Seeing Song Yi's warning, Kai Wenjie got out of the bus with 4 female teachers and 3 kitchen ants. This was the end of the world and there was nothing wrong with being cautious. Kai Wenjie came to Song Yi first and patted Song Yi on the shoulder to encourage him. Thank you for your hard work. The outer perimeter security mission and the task of refueling the vehicles are all given to you. Don't let any zombies come over. And you watch these 4 female teachers first. I'm going to the convenience store to see if there is any danger. Wait here now. I'm going to the convenience store to see if there are any zombies. After I greet you, come over. Do you understand? Okay, we listen to you. Among the 4 female teachers, the oldest one, who was still charming, answered, but used honorifics. After all, as the person who rescued and protected them, respect is also necessary. We all listen to you, young man. That this is the answer of the ants. I promise to complete the task. That this is Song Yi's answer. Kai Wenjie nodded, took out his pistol, and began to move towards the convenience store. Generally, gas stations have convenience stores attached to them, so that car owners can have a place to rest when refueling. As for why a pistol is used instead of a rifle, it is mainly because in places like indoors, pistols are much more flexible than rifles and can react quickly and shoot targets. Kai Wenjie came to the door of the convenience store, but did not push the door open directly. Instead, he observed the structure of the door first. The door of the convenience store is an automatic door. There is an infrared sensor light outside the door that automatically opens the door after detecting pedestrians. After entering the convenience store, another infrared sensor light installed inside the door of the convenience store will also detect the customer entering the convenience store and automatically play the welcome message. Kai Wenjie first walked around the convenience store to make sure there were no zombies ambushing. Chapter 35 Rest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the inspection, Kai Wenjie returned to the gate and stood in front of the induction door. After the door opened, Kai Wenjie did not step in directly, but first knocked out the speaker behind the door with a pistol, and then tentatively put his foot into the convenience store. No welcome. Because the speaker was knocked out by Kai Wenjie, there was only a small electric current sound, which could be ignored. After hearing the electric current sound, Kai Wenjie stepped into the convenience store with peace of mind. The convenience store was not big, only 50 square meters. Kai Wenjie raised his pistol and began to carefully check every corner to ensure that there was no mistake. Soon Kai Wenjie carefully checked this small convenience store. There were no zombies or humans ambushing. Kai Wenjie put the pistol into the holster and picked up a bucket. He came to the door and waved to the people outside, signaling the 4 teachers and ants to come over. The teachers and ants who had gathered together saw Kai Wenjie waving his hand and hurried to the convenience store. Okay, I checked everything inside. There's no danger. Go get the food and water, move it to the bus and share it. Kai Wenjie looked at the 7 people in front of him, pointed at the convenience store and said. Also, there is a storage room in the convenience store, which is full of food and water that are not on the shelves. Move the things there first. They are all well packaged and easy to move. After that, the teachers and ants nodded and started to sweep the goods. Kai Wenjie came to another gas station and picked up the oil barrel he had just found in the convenience store. The capacity of the oil barrel is 20 liters. Kai Wenjie put the oil barrel underneath, picked up the oil gun and started to fill it with oil. Although it looks like he was filling it with oil, Kai Wenjie actually poured the oil directly into the system space. Of course, because the system space is grid by grid, there is no need to worry about gasoline soaking other things. While Kai Wenjie was secretly filling the oil, the teachers and ants had already moved the water and food onto the bus. The main ones are bread, instant noodles, biscuits and other snacks, as well as several boxes of mineral water, which are enough to ensure the rations of the people in the car for 2 days. Because there is no hot water, the people in the car can only eat food such as bread or biscuits. Just when Kai Wenjie and his team were resting and reorganizing, the rescue team on the other side. We are about to reach the destination. There are too many zombies. I must crash into them. You hold on tight. Su Tao said to his teammates behind him on the intercom and directly crashed into the zombies blocking the road. Although the zombies were attracted by the explosion, a zombie tide formed in the north of the city, with a number of about 50,000. Diamond suit, but the explosions in the east of the city have stopped, and the zombie tide formed in the west of the city has no target and is wandering aimlessly in the streets and alleys. Therefore, the west of the city is now full of zombies, especially the spacious roads or squares are already crowded with zombies. This is also the reason why Su Tao asked the people behind to hold on tight. Su Tao stared straight ahead, his right foot stepped hard on the accelerator, the engine of the military truck made a beast-like sound, and the truck crashed into several zombies blocking the road in front. Bang! That with the sound of the truck and the zombies colliding, the zombie was directly knocked away by the truck, his arms and legs twisted into a twist-like shape, his chest was cracked by the impact of the truck, and his internal organs were stuck on the windshield of the truck. The scene was extremely bloody. Su Tao, who originally suffered from hyperthymesia, had automatically recorded the scene in front of him in his mind. Su Tao's face was a little pale, but he still endured the discomfort and continued to drive. Su Tao didn't dare to stop. Stopping now would be suicide. He could only speed up and rush to YJ University. There were already zombies following the truck driven by Su Tao. As time went by, the number of zombies gradually increased. Soon the number of zombies exceeded 100. Although Su Tao had already shaken off the zombies still moved forward with the sound of the truck. Unless they were completely away from the zombie group, the zombies without sound guidance would disperse, but Su Tao found that the closer he got to the university in the middle of the North City, the more zombies there were. Even before he reached the university, Su Tao had already found that the road ahead had been occupied by a dense group of zombies. Seeing that he was about to collide, Su Tao quickly braked and turned the steering wheel. After a beautiful drift, the truck stopped less than 30 meters away from the zombies. Then Su Tao stepped on the accelerator again, and after the harsh noise caused by the friction between the truck tires and the ground, the truck rushed forward again. The person sitting in the back of the truck was unlucky. First, he was thrown out of the car by the brakes and drifting. After stopping, he was not clear about the situation and was almost thrown out of the car by the sudden rush of the truck. The person who was almost thrown out of the car was Chen Dong. If Xiong Tao hadn't grabbed his arm, he would have been thrown out. Chen Dong thanked Xiong Tao with some fear. "Thanks, brother, otherwise I would have died here." "You're welcome. I won't watch my brother die easily." Xiong Tao patted his overworked chest muscles and answered in a rough voice. After calming down a little, he asked Su Tao on the intercom. "Captain, because of your amazing operation just now, I almost died here, delivering food to the zombies." Chen Dong complained to Su Tao in a sarcastic tone. Of course, Chen Dong knew why Su Tao did this. After being rescued by Xiong Tao, Chen Dong saw the zombies behind him, and the road was blocked by zombies. At first glance, there were zombies everywhere, just like tourist attractions during the holidays, with people crowded everywhere. Of course, it was not people crowded here, but zombies crowded zombies. When the truck made an emergency brake, the zombies also found the truck. Tens of thousands of eyes without pupils looked at the truck in unison, and then they roared like lions that found their prey and ran towards the fleeing truck. Imagine the scene of tens of thousands of people running together. Even when hundreds of people ran together, their footsteps were earth-shaking. Now tens of thousands of zombies ran together, and the sound they made was even more earth-shaking. Boom boom boom. Su Tao's rescue team looked at the tide of zombies behind them and broke into a cold sweat. Su Tao did not dare to be careless. Now there were tens of thousands of zombies behind them, and there were also zombies in front of them, which were attracted when they came. No. If we continue like this, let alone rescue, we will die here in vain sooner or later. Su Tao forced himself to suppress his anxiety and shouted into the intercom. We need to find a way to attract the attention of the zombies behind us. We need to lead them away. Does anyone have a cell phone or something else? At this time, Zhou Xiaoling, a medical soldier, suddenly remembered that she seemed to have a loudspeaker with her. When she was at the military gathering place before, in order to guide the people into the gathering place more easily, the armed forces issued a loudspeaker, but she was pulled into the rescue team before she could use it. Chapter 36: The Second Clone Soldier. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Xiaoling quickly took out her loudspeaker, tried it, and confirmed that it was not broken. I have a loudspeaker here. After connecting the loudspeaker to the mobile phone and playing music at the highest volume, it should be used to lure away the zombies. Zhou Xiaoling picked up her walkie-talkie and told Su Tao about her idea. After hearing Zhou Xiaoling's idea, Su Tao found that it was indeed feasible. He looked at the road ahead and said to Zhou Xiaoling, "When I tell you to throw it, you should throw the loudspeaker out immediately. There is a crossroad in front. I will drive to the left in the middle. At that time, you should throw the loudspeaker out as lightly as possible." "Okay. I know." After Zhou Xiaoling finished speaking, she immediately took out her mobile phone, took out a bandage from the medical box she carried with her, and aligned the microphone of the mobile phone and the loudspeaker and wrapped them together. "I'm ready, waiting for your order." After finishing the preparations, Zhou Xiaoling took the simple zombie attraction device and grabbed the place in the car that could be grabbed tightly. In order to prevent being thrown out of the car like Qindong, she had to hold on to something. In less than a while, Su Tao drove to the intersection. "Listen to my orders. Get ready. Release." As Su Tao drifted amazingly, Zhou Xiaoling grabbed everything she could in the car with one hand, pressed the button of the mobile phone with the other hand, and started playing music, and gently pushed the simple zombie attraction device out of the car. As the march of the volunteers came from the loudspeaker, the mobile phone and loudspeaker continued to slide forward due to inertia, and the bus drifted to the left of the intersection. The zombies did not continue to rush to the truck on the left, but rushed to the loudspeaker that was playing the march of the volunteers. The high-pitched military music continued to sound, and Su Tao and others couldn't help but sing it silently, which invisibly improved their morale. Finally, about 10 minutes later, Su Tao and his team finally got rid of the zombies behind them. "We can't go to the east gate, so we can only go to the west gate. I hope Professor Dong is safe." Su Tao didn't know that Professor Dong, whom he was going to rescue, had been rescued by an outstanding citizen long ago. This rescue operation was destined to be a waste of time. On the other side, Kai Wenjie and his students and teachers had finished their lunch, and Kai Wenjie emptied all the gasoline in this gas station, and stealing oil, no. During the period of borrowing oil, another clone soldier was summoned, Asian male, age set at 30 years old, the appearance is based on the image of an iron-blooded tough guy. For more details, please imagine the image of Zhang Fei in the Three Kingdoms. Kai Wenjie is a clone soldier molded according to the appearance of Zhang Fei in the novel, swallow chin and tiger beard, leopard head and round eyes, voice like thunder, momentum like a fierce horse, holding a Zhangba snake spear, so majestic. This is a sentence describing Zhang Fei in the novel, and Kai Wenjie is a clone Zhang Fei molded according to this sentence. Not to mention, if he really holds the Zhangba snake spear, he can play Zhang Fei directly without makeup. Moreover, Kai Wenjie was particularly convenient to name this clone soldier Zhang Fei. There was no way that since he finished making this clone soldier, the name Zhang Fei flew directly into his mind, and other names were not suitable, so he was called Zhang Fei. Kai Wenjie picked up the full set of tactical equipment Type 1 that he had just exchanged and the CS/LR-30 rifle that Song Yi was currently using and handed them to Zhang Fei and said, "You will be called Zhang Fei from now on. Come and change your equipment and weapons first." "Thank you, brother." After taking the weapons and equipment, Zhang Fei shouted in a loud voice, "Thank you, brother." "Huh. Forget it, as long as you're happy." Kai Wenjie smiled with a bit of a laugh. While Zhang Fei was wearing the equipment, Kai Wenjie checked Zhang Fei's skills, which were still combat skills. Kai Wenjie thought about it and spent another 200 points to exchange for a retractable spear and gave it to Zhang Fei. This retractable spear can be shrunk to half a meter when not in use, which is about the length of an arm. It can be hung around the waist or on the back at will. When it is used, twist the mechanism in the middle to directly pop out the spear tip, which can grow to 2 meters long. "Zhang Fei, can you drive?" "Brother. I can drive. My combat skills include driving skills." Kai Wenjie nodded after hearing Zhang Fei's answer. "It seems that combat skills include a lot of things. Okay, so, you go drive the bus I drove before, and I will kill some zombies behind the bus to earn some points." The points used to exchange Zhang Fei and weapons and equipment emptied Kai Wenjie's treasury again. In order to earn points, Kai Wenjie decided to kill some zombies to recover blood. "Song Yi, you continue to drive the Knight 15 to open the way in front, and Zhang Fei and I will go to the bus." "Yes." There was no nonsense, just a straight salute, and then got on the Knight 15. Kai Wenjie was particularly satisfied with Song Yi's military spirit. It should be said that he was a soldier from the most disciplined army in the world and was simply the best subordinate. After Kai Wenjie took Zhang Fei on the bus, the girls and Professor Dong in the car were stunned, not for anything else, but because of Zhang Fei's appearance. Kai Wenjie deliberately did not put a mask on Zhang Fei, mainly because his beard was too thick, and he was uncomfortable with the mask. So he simply asked him to take off the mask, after seeing Zhang Fei's appearance. And Tang Tang opened her mouth in surprise and tried to open her eyes as wide as possible. Wow! Zhang Fei! Is there really someone who looks like Zhang Fei in reality? Uncle, where did you find him? Professor Dong looked at Zhang Fei, making a sound of tisk tsk and talking to himself. I am still alive and can actually see Zhang Yida with my own eyes, tsk. Okay, don't be too surprised, he is my colleague, he is a natural-looking guy, there is nothing I can do about it. Kai Wenjie explained beside him, although there was no need to explain to them, but he still said it casually. After trying Kai Wenjie's eyes, Zhang Fei came to the driver's seat and sat on it, then naturally started the car, closed the door, and followed the Night 15 driven by Song Yi to leave the gas station. And Kai Wenjie came to the back of the bus and said to the girl, sitting in the back row, come on, give up your seat. The girl who was called by Kai Wenjie quickly got up and gave up her original seat, and ran to the other side to sit on it. During the time, she was fascinated by Kai Wenjie's magnetic voice and blushed. She looked at Kai Wenjie quietly from the side. Although Kai Wenjie's face could not be seen clearly because of his mask, she felt that she was in love just by hearing Kai Wenjie's magnetic voice. Kai Wenjie didn't know what the girl was thinking. After the girl gave up her seat, Kai Wenjie sat on the second-to-last row of chairs in a bow-shaped posture, and first took the window breaker hanging next to him and smashed the rear window of the bus fiercely. Chapter 37 Bullet Shell. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With the sound of glass breaking, Kai Wenjie smashed the rear window of the bus and cleaned up the glass shards to avoid being stabbed. Then he placed the VSS on the last row of seats, just enough to shoot through the rear window. As the vehicle moved, Kai Wenjie soon discovered the zombies following behind. Although there were not as many zombies in the south of the city as in the north, it did not mean that there were no zombies at all. There were still a few zombies hiding in the corners of the south of the city. Now, because of the sound of the bus, they began to gather on this side of the road, but they could not catch up with the bus at all, so they could only hang far behind, and what Kai Wenjie had to do was to get rid of the zombies behind to replenish the depleted small treasury, but unfortunately, due to the gunmanship and the shaking of the vehicle, the hit rate was extremely low. Even if he shot at the zombies, he only hit the torso and could not kill the zombies, but fortunately, although he could not earn points, with the power of VSS, he could directly overturn the zombies he hit, making it impossible for the zombies to catch up with the bus. Sometimes, Kai Wenjie was lucky enough to hit the zombies in the head, causing a fatal blow, and his shooting skills became better and better as time went by. Of course, this was all due to the strengthening potion. It would be a pipe dream for ordinary people to greatly improve their shooting skills in a short period of time under such circumstances. Puff. 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 As time went by, the bullet shells thrown out of the gun body after Kai Wenjie's shot had burned the girl sitting next to him and made her doubt her life. In the end, she had no choice but to move to the front to squeeze with her bestie. Soon, Kai Wenjie had used up the 10 magazines he brought with him, and had no choice but to stop shooting. There were no zombies behind the car chasing the bus. They were either shot in the head by Kai Wenjie or beaten so hard that they could not continue to chase. Looking at the newly released system points, Kai Wenjie, who was wearing a mask, couldn't help but feel lost for a while. Points, 2000.10 magazines with 400 bullets killed 20 zombies. Although there were reasons for poor shooting skills or vehicle shaking, Kai Wenjie still felt that he was embarrassed enough. In fact, the last 5 zombies were basically killed by the last magazine, which means that Kai Wenjie's headshot hit rate has improved a lot after this shooting, but Kai Wenjie didn't know that he could already shoot moving targets in a shaking car. Although there was no headshot, every bullet hit the target accurately, which means that Kai Wenjie is already a qualified shooter. After all, you need to shoot the head to shoot zombies, but you don't need to shoot the head to shoot people. You can still kill people by shooting the body, but Kai Wenjie, who hasn't noticed this, is taking out the empty magazine, reaching into the ammunition bag on his belt and taking out the bullets to load one by one. Of course, there are no bullets in the ammunition bag just for show. While Kai Wenjie was loading ammunition, the rescue team on the other side also came to the back door of YJ University, which was the parking lot where Kai Wenjie got the bus. After the 6 people got off the truck, they gathered together and assigned tasks. Wang Long, Wang Hu, you two stay here to protect the truck and prepare for long-range support. Understood. ×2. Everyone else follow me to rescue Professor Dong. Remember not to use firearms unless it is an emergency, so as not to attract more zombies. Understood. ×3. After simply assigning the tasks, Wang Long and Wang Hu, as snipers and observers, stayed in place to protect the vehicle and perform long-range sniping tasks. Assaulter Chen Dong, Xiong Tao who provided fire support, medical soldier Zhou Xiaoling and team leader Su Tao, as the main combat force of this rescue mission, were responsible for rescuing Professor Dong and other survivors. If necessary, they could abandon the survivors and protect Professor Dong alone to evacuate. Chen Dong, you are the best at lurking. Go in front, pay attention to the situation of zombies, and report at any time. Xiong Tao, you protect our tail. If you find zombies, decide whether to kill them or not. Zhou Xiaoling, don't leave the team. The road connecting the parking lot and canteen number 1 was originally cleared by Kai Wenjie, but now there are other zombies to fill the gap, and there are even more than before the clearing. The reason is obvious. The zombies that were originally attracted to the street by the explosion scattered to the surrounding areas after losing their target, and YJ University was the first to bear the brunt. This made the rescue more difficult, but there was no way to obey orders as a soldier, so they had to bite the bullet. Soon Su Tao and his team reached the gate of canteen number 1. During the period, there was no gunfight with zombies and they arrived at the canteen safely, but Su Tao was a little angry when he saw the canteen door open. Come with me and see if Professor Dong is still here. After saying that, Su Tao tightly grasped the 95 rifle in his hand and quickly ran upstairs to the cafeteria. According to what the students who escaped from the university said, Professor Dong should be on the 3rd floor, but when Su Tao ran up to the 3rd floor, he saw no one there, not to mention Professor Dong. There was not even a survivor. Search carefully to see if there are any people or bodies. Although Su Tao did not think that Professor Dong had died, he still ordered just in case. Yes. After hearing Su Tao's order, the 3 people began to search the cafeteria in a carpet-style manner, but unfortunately found nothing. Just when Su Tao thought the mission was going to fail, he suddenly saw a few shells in the corner of the window. Su Tao walked over, squatted down, picked up the shells, held them in his hand and observed them carefully. You should know that the Z country military arsenal stipulates that the bullet manufacturing factory and year code are pressed on the bottom of the shell. If the 2 sets of numbers are in the same direction, the upper one is the factory code and the lower one is the year code. If there is a decimal point, the one with the decimal point is the year code. If a set of numbers ends with 1, except those with a decimal point, this represents the manufacturer. Under normal circumstances, year code, the year and code before 1953 are universal, such as 1949 represents 1949. The year and code of bullets from 1954 to 1960 are different, such as 54, A, B, C, Ding, representing 1954 to 1960 respectively. After 1961, the year code uses the last 2 digits. For example, 661 represents the manufacturer's code, and 76 represents 1976, but the bullet in my hand has no mark. Not only this one, but all the bullets scattered here are unmarked. That means that these are either unregistered black bullets or they are hand-fired. Excluding the latter situation first, it is very likely that Professor Dong and others have been rescued by unknown armed forces. Just as Su Tao was stroking his chin in thought, the others also came back after the search. Report that no corpses or living people were found here. Me here too. Me too. Chapter 38 Zombie Dog. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I know, let's go back. Su Tao sighed and said, Taiwan Novel Network. Hearing Su Tao's words, Chen Dong asked with some confusion. What's the matter, Captain? Are you not going to save Professor Dong? Zhou Xiaoling and Xiong Tao's faces were also full of question marks. That is to say, why don't we look for him again? Maybe Professor Dong is still nearby. Su Tao shook his head and took out the bullet shell in his hand to explain to others. What's the difference between this bullet shell and ours? Look at the bottom. Is there a number? The number at the bottom represents that the other three looked at the bullet shell in Su Tao's hand. There was indeed no number. After hearing Su Tao's explanation, they understood. In other words, Professor Dong has been rescued? Or kidnapped. Chen Dong, Zhou Xiaoling, and Xiong Tao looked at Su Tao in surprise. Almost. Now we can only go back and see what the higher-ups say. Okay, let's go. After saying that, he put the empty bullet shell in his jacket pocket, ready to take it back to see if he could detect fingerprints or something. Yes, Su Tao and the other four picked up the intercom and contacted Wang Long on the way downstairs. Calling Wang Long, can you hear us? We are ready to go back, and provide remote support. Received. Soon, Su Tao and the other four came to the main entrance of the first floor. Chen Dong, who was walking in front, was about to go out when Su Tao grabbed his arm. Wait. Look outside. Su Tao grabbed Chen Dong's arm and pulled him behind him, saying in a low voice. When Chen Dong was about to ask why he was being pulled, he heard Su Tao's words and glanced outside the main entrance. It would have been better if he hadn't looked, but he was startled when he saw it. There were already about 20 zombies gathered outside the main entrance, walking around aimlessly. The nearest zombie was only 5 meters away from the main entrance. Fortunately, the zombie didn't notice them and was walking in other directions. Su Tao quickly glanced outside the gate, thought for a moment, and then made a fist with his wrist raised to the top of his head, with his index finger vertically raised upwards, slowly making a circular motion, meaning to get closer to me. The other three saw Su Tao's gesture and quickly surrounded him. After the others got close enough to hear the whisper, Su Tao spoke in a low voice. There are more than a dozen zombies in front of the gate. If you want to break through, you must shoot, but shooting will inevitably attract more zombies. Chen Dong, go and see if there is a back door. Chen Dong nodded, crouched and walked to the back. At this time, Su Tao took out his pistol, unloaded the magazine, ejected a bullet, and put the magazine back. After giving Zhou Xiaoling a look, he came to the half-closed door of the gate and threw the bullet in his hand with force without being discovered by the zombies outside. As the bullet drew a perfect parabola, it fell on the stone road 40 meters away from the gate, making a crisp sound. Stop Ling, stop Ling. As the bullets hit the ground, the zombies also noticed the sound. The zombies turned their heads quickly in the direction of the sound and began to run towards the direction of the sound. Su Tao seized this opportunity, quickly closed the door, turned the door lock, closed and locked the door. He was relieved. If the zombies found the door and rushed to it, the door would not last long. Chen Dong came back at this time. Captain, I found another door in the back. It should be the back door of the cafeteria. We can retreat from there if there are no zombies. Good job, you lead the way in front. We must leave here quickly. There are more and more zombies. Yes, follow me. Chen Dong nodded and led the way to the back. Soon Chen Dong and the other three came to the back door. There were indeed no zombies outside the back door. The four of them went out of the back door as quickly as possible and rushed to the parking lot. I originally wanted to go back quietly like I did when I came, but with the current speed of zombies spreading, I would be caught by zombies before I even got halfway. Since I could get back to the parking lot and drive away as quickly as possible, Su Tao did not forget to remind Wang Long and Wang Hu to prepare for evacuation on the way back. Wang Long, Wang Hu, no need for long-distance support. Wang Long, you continue to ensure the safety of the vehicle's surroundings. Wang Hu, you start the truck engine first and wait for us to come back. Su Tao and his four companions, who were rushing on the road at full speed, did not see that behind the bushes on both sides of the road 30 places ahead, there was a blood-red double pupil staring at them. As Su Tao and his companions approached, the monster with blood-red eyes finally stopped hiding and jumped out of the bushes directly, biting Zhou Xiaoling, who looked the weakest in the team, with its sharp teeth. At the moment of jumping out of the bushes, Su Tao and his four companions also saw the appearance of the monster. All the hair on the body fell off, the outer skin rotted and fell off, only the muscle tissue was exposed, the pupil color of the eyeball turned red, the white of the eye was covered with bloodshot, and the teeth and claws became longer and extremely sharp. It was originally a large dog wandering in the university. From time to time, college students would feel sorry for it and feed it dog food or food, but today it was wagging its tail to beg for food from the surrounding college students as usual. A female college student who often fed it food pounced on it and began to bite its flesh. No matter how much it wailed, the person who pounced on it would not leave. Until the moment of its death, the big dog couldn't figure out why the person who usually loved and fed it would eat it. The big dog died and came back to life, but this time the big dog was no longer the dog that wagged its tail happily at people when it saw them, but a zombie dog that tore people apart. Just as the zombie dog pounced on Zhou Shaoling, Xiong Tao fired. The CF-06 general-purpose machine gun in Xiong Tao's hand emitted a deadly flame, and the bullets shot at the zombie dog like a dense swarm of bees, and the zombie dog was shot into a sieve in an instant. The CF-06 general-purpose machine gun is based on the domestic 1980 62mm general-purpose machine gun, and the 53 Type 62 by 54mm bullet fired by the original gun is changed to NATO 62 by 51mm NATO bullet. It is mainly a heavy machine gun, which can destroy group targets or single important targets within 1,000 meters, suppress and eliminate enemy firepower points, and is an effective weapon for blocking traffic arteries, bridges, etc. It can also be used as a light machine gun with an effective range of 800 meters. It can also effectively shoot at low-altitude aircraft or paratroopers within 500 meters in the air. Moreover, the whole gun weighs 8 kilograms, the gun body weighs 1 kilogram and the gun frame weighs 7 kilograms, which is comfortable to hold, easy to use, and has good mobility, and with Xiong Tao's physique, there is no problem at all to pick up this machine gun for combat. The zombie dog was instantly beaten into rags by the high-powered bullets used by the CF-06 machine gun carried by Xiong Tao. Zhou Shaoling looked at Xiong Tao gratefully, then turned around and ran forward at a faster speed. Not only Zhou Shaoling, but Chendong and Su Tao also did not speak, and directly proved Zhou Shaoling was right with actions. Chapter 39 Breakout. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sound of machine guns permeated the surroundings, and naturally the zombies also heard the gunshots. Taiwan Novel Network. The zombies followed the gunshots and ran towards Su Tao and his team, and gradually formed a group of zombies on the way, on the parking lot. Wang Hu, did you hear it? It was gunshots. I heard it. It sounded like Xiong Tao's 6-type machine gun. No. Such a loud gunshot will definitely attract the attention of zombies. Brother, what should I do? What should I do? Cold. Such a loud gunshot will definitely attract a zombie tide. I have started the engine of the truck. Just wait until the captain and his team come back. That while the two brothers were talking, human figures began to appear in the distance. It was Su Tao and his team rushing back. The zombies also chased Su Tao and his team, following closely behind the 4 people. Fortunately, the zombies near the parking lot had been thoroughly cleared by the brothers Wang Long and Wang Hu with sniper rifles equipped with silencers. This prevented the 4 people who were retreating from being trapped like dumplings. After all, once they were trapped like dumplings by zombies, it was basically GG. Seeing the zombies chasing after Su Tao, Wang Long and Wang Hu took their own sniper rifles and began to help snipe the zombies closest to the 4 people. Soon, with the help of the 2 brothers, the 4 people finally arrived in front of the truck. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Get in the car. The zombie tide is coming. After Su Tao shouted, he rushed to the driver's seat of the truck at the fastest speed. The other 3 also used the speed of running to climb onto the back of the truck. In less than 3 seconds, Chendong, Xiong Tao, and Zhou Shaoling climbed onto the truck. After seeing their teammates climb onto the truck safely, Wang Long and Wang Hu put away their sniper rifles and climbed onto the truck with the help of Chendong and Xiong Tao, who had already stretched out their hands on the truck. In less than 5 seconds, everyone quickly boarded the truck. After seeing everyone board the truck, Zhou Shaoling quickly patted the glass connected to the front driver's seat in the car, reminding Su Tao to be ready. Hearing the sound of patting the car glass from behind, Su Tao stepped on the accelerator. With the full operation of the engine, the truck tires began to rotate rapidly and rubbed against the ground quickly, making a harsh friction sound, and the truck rushed forward. This time, the team members were well prepared, and they held everything around them tightly to avoid being thrown out by the inertia of the truck. At this time, the zombies chasing behind continued to follow the truck, and zombies began to gather at the back door of the university. "Hold on. I want to break out of the encirclement." After Su Tao turned on the intercom and shouted, he grabbed the steering wheel with both hands and continued to step on the accelerator to avoid being thrown away by the steering wheel when hitting the zombies and causing a rollover. The truck rushed to the back door like a mad bull under Su Tao's driving, and the zombies gathered at the back door also found that this steel machine was rushing towards them. The zombies began to charge back at the truck without hesitation, and soon the truck and the zombies collided with each other. Bang! In an instant, the zombies were knocked away by the impact of the truck, 1 by 1, 3 by 3, as more and more zombies were knocked away, and the front panel and bumper of the truck began to deform. Although the truck was a military vehicle, it could not withstand the continuous impact of zombies. Fortunately, before the bumper was completely scrapped, the truck finally broke out of the zombie encirclement and began to retreat in the direction it came from. Although the zombies were still chasing the truck, it was no longer a big problem. Although the zombies ran fast, they were still faster than vehicles. As long as they were out of a certain distance, the zombies would automatically disband. "We escaped." After Su Tao confirmed again and again that there were no zombies following him, he breathed a sigh of relief and told the walkie-talkie that he had escaped successfully. Now I have something to brag about when I go back. Indeed, it's really amazing to break out from the siege of thousands of zombies. More than that. We two brothers killed at least dozens of zombies. Although we sniped them from a distance, we can still be considered zombie killers. Chen Dong and the two brothers Wang Long and Wang Hu gathered together to brag about their achievements, and Zhou Xiaoling thanked Xiong Tao again. "Thank you so much just now, brother Xiong. If it weren't for you, I might have died." "Thank you so much." Zhou Xiaoling thanked Xiong Tao with red eyes, because Zhou Xiaoling's parents had long passed away, and there were only two elderly people in their 80s. If they knew about her death, the old man and the old lady would definitely not be able to hold on. "It's okay. I said, I won't let my teammates die." Xiong Tao showed a silly expression. While holding the machine gun, he patted his chest with his hand and said this. Zhou Xiaoling couldn't help but smile at Xiong Tao's exaggerated performance, while Xiong Tao was mesmerized by Zhou Xiaoling's smile. He patted his chest with his big hands, and began to have nowhere to put them. His expression became strange, as if he was shy and a little embarrassed. The three people who were originally discussing enthusiastically on the side stopped discussing at some point, and began to look at Zhou Xiaoling and Xiong Tao. Then the three of them simultaneously revealed the expressions that only single dogs would reveal when looking at couples. Chen Dong stretched out his arm and tried to pull Xiong Tao over, but he didn't shake him. After all, there was a physical gap here, but Xiong Tao took the initiative to move towards Chen Dong. Chen Dong ignored the embarrassment just now, put his arm on Xiong Tao's neck again, and gathered with the two brothers Wang Long and Wang Hu to start whispering. "Brother Xiong, are you interested in Team Dr. Zhou? Don't quibble. With your actions just now, if you say no, we won't believe it." "That's right, don't believe it." Seeing the three people asking him, Xiong Tao said a little embarrassedly. "I just think that Team Dr. Zhou's smile is very nice. I have absolutely no other meaning." Naturally, the three of them didn't believe it and continued to question Xiong Tao. Zhou Xiaoling, who was watching all this from behind, also looked away with a bit of embarrassment. Different from everyone's laughter, Jin Peng, who was resting in the hotel room, was now getting ready to join his comrades. "We originally agreed to go hiking together this afternoon, but due to the zombie outbreak, Jin Peng was trapped in the hotel room." Also accompanying him was Nguojun, who was also in the hotel where Jin Peng was staying, in the next room, as the groom, Sun Jinbao lived with the bride in the wedding room not far from the hotel. The wedding room was in a community not far from the hotel. The specific location was number 302, Unit 1, Jinhua Community. Jin Peng first met up with Nguojun next door. National Army, let's pick up Sun Jinbao and his family first and take refuge at the gathering place. Okay. I will listen to you, but Jinbao's community is a bit far away from here. We need to get the protective weapons first. You're right. I remember there is a police station nearby. Let's go there to get some weapons. After Jin Pang and Nguojun briefly exchanged opinions, they began to pack their things and put them into their backpacks. Chapter 40 Hotel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bottled mineral water, instant noodles, lighters, etc., as long as Jinpeng thought they would be useful, they were all packed into the backpack. After preparation, they had no choice but to dismantle a chair because they didn't have any weapons at hand. The two of them each picked up 2 chair legs and used them as short sticks. Just as he was about to open the door of the room and go out, the sound of a car came from outside the window. Jin Pangyan and Guojun looked at each other, hurried to the window and looked down. The hotel where the two were staying was in the south of the city. They were supposed to be rescued by the army, but they were too asleep to be woken up by the army's trumpets, and zombies happened to attack the hotel. The two of them were woken up by the sound of gunfire. When they woke up, they saw the army fighting zombies below the hotel, and the shots were fired while retreating. In this way, the two of them stayed in the hotel in confusion and were forced to miss the rescue. Originally, the two of them hoped that there would be a second rescue, but unexpectedly there was no movement by the afternoon. Now they can only save themselves, but now the sound of cars under the hotel made Jin Pang and Nguojun think it was the rescue force coming to rescue them. They were very excited and hurried to the window. When they were about to call for help, they found that the rescue force was not there. It was just a bus. The two were greatly disappointed, but they still opened the window and prepared to shout a few times. Just as he was about to yell, he noticed something sticking out from the back of the bus, followed by a burst of fire. Seeing the light of the fire, Jin Pang and Nguojun knew in an instant that the gun they just shot was a gun. Is it really difficult to fight a rescue force? Hey! We are here. Hey! Regardless of Jin Pang who was thinking, Nguojun shouted directly with a loud voice. Jin Pang, who was next to him, was thinking about the problem and did not stop Nguojun immediately. By the time he realized it, it was already too late. Kai Wenjie, who had loaded all the magazines, started the second round of shooting when he suddenly heard a voice calling him. Kai Wenjie looked around with some confusion. Except for the zombies running behind the bus, he did not find anyone else. In order to confirm whether it was an auditory hallucination, Kai Wenjie asked the girls around him again. Did you hear anything? No. Is there any sound? I didn't hear it. The girls around had confused expressions on their faces and shook their heads. In fact, the girls covered their ears when Kai Wenjie was shooting, and could not hear any other sounds except the gunfire. Maybe I heard it wrong. The bus quickly passed the hotel and disappeared at the entrance of the street. Above the hotel, Jin Ping covered Nguojun's mouth with his hand and squatted under the window. Do you want to kill us? Didn't you see the zombies following the bus? Once we are discovered by them, there will be no way to survive. Nguojun patted Jin Peng's arm and motioned to put his hand down. After Jin Peng put down his hand, Nguojun laughed awkwardly. Sorry, I forgot for a moment that there is such a thing as zombies. Please be careful next time. Forget it, don't be too careless next time, or we will die. What can Jinpeng say? They were brothers after all, so they could only sigh. I originally wanted to pick up Sun Jinbao directly, but it seems I need to make some plans. Okay, I will listen to you. Jinpeng first picked up his cell phone and called Sun Jinbao. The vast horizon is my love. Jinpeng smiled helplessly when he heard Sun Jinbao's ringtone. After all, not many people still use this kind of song as ringtone in this era. Finally, after a while of ringing, the phone was connected. Hello. Brother Peng, is that you? It's me, how are you? Is it safe? Don't worry. We are all at home. In the morning, I picked up my parents, father-in-law and mother-in-law to gather at my house. They are all safe. Where are you, Brother Peng? Where is the National Army? Are they all safe? Sun Jinbao on the other side of the phone asked anxiously. Don't worry. The National Army and I are fine. We are preparing to go to your place to rescue you. And I saw on TV that the location of the military gathering place is about to leave. I saw it too, but the nearest gathering place is far away from us. It's impossible to get there on foot. How are you going to get there? I'm going to go to the nearby police station or public security bureau to pick up some self-defense weapons, then find a car that can fit all of us in, and drive to the gathering place. Jean Peng revealed the plan he had just made in a hurry. But let's meet up first. I'll be at your place in about 15 minutes. Remember to open the door for me. Okay, I get it, be careful on the road. See you later. After saying that, Jean Peng hung up the phone, turned to Nguojun, and nodded. Then I started to do warm-up exercises, because if you want to pass through intersections and other places quickly, you must go all out. In order to prevent calf cramps or other muscle strains, warm-up exercises are necessary. 5 minutes later, the two of them had fully warmed up. They held the chair legs in their hands tightly. After smiling at each other, they opened the door and took the first step. Most of the people in the hotel had evacuated safely, so the hotel was basically empty, and most of the zombies were attracted out of the hotel by the gunfire during the evacuation. The few remaining zombies are basically safe in the lobby on the first floor. Soon Jean Peng and Nguojun arrived at the stairway on the second floor and were secretly looking at the lobby on the first floor. There are not many zombies, only 6 zombies, but these 6 zombies can basically kill 2 people without any guns. After all, with just 1 bite, the 2 people can declare GG. With our current equipment, we can't rush through. We have to think of a way. What way? Jean Peng touched his chin, and suddenly an idea came to his mind. I have an idea. Let's go up first, and I'll tell you slowly. After that, Jean Peng took the lead to the 3rd floor, and Nguojun followed to the 3rd floor. We do this, then this, and finally this. Do you understand? I won't tease you, it's boring. You are not right. Jean Peng first came to the elevator and pressed the button. In order not to die directly, he didn't use the elevator just now. After the elevator door opened, he picked up the backpack and put it between the elevator doors, so that the elevator door could not be closed, and the elevator was left on the 3rd floor. Then he waved to Nguojun, and when Nguojun came to Jean Peng, he grabbed Nguojun and pushed him into the elevator. Wait a minute, when I come in, just press the button for the 1st floor. So that's how it is, okay. I got it. After that, Nguojun brought in the backpack that was blocking the elevator entrance and pressed the door opening button with his fingers to prevent the elevator door from closing. Seeing that Nguojun had understood his plan, Jean Peng took the chair leg in his hand, came to the staircase, and touched the stair handrail, which was made of pure metal. He smashed the chair leg against the stair handrail. Chapter 42 Rescue Helicopter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone stopped making noise and lined up to go to the top of the building. Red. Su Tao was the last one to come up, and then he took out his flare gun and red smoke grenade, ready to fire at any time. Because Xiong Tao fired a few shots just now, the zombies staying nearby began to approach the building. Because Xiong Tao was in the corridor when he fired, the sound of the gunfire did not spread far, just around the building. Therefore, there are not many zombies attracted, no more than 50 in number. A few people can safely take advantage of the terrain gap to eliminate the zombies. Wang Long and Wang Hu even started a zombie shooting competition. The loser must complete any request of the winner. Both brothers knew what the other's character was. No one wanted to lose in this game, so they had to try their best to shoot. Kill the zombies that gather around you. Just when the two of them were killing zombies, loud noises began to be heard in the distance. It was the noise made by the propellers of the rescue helicopter. The model of the rescue helicopter is Z-8KA. The G-8KA Air Force type transport helicopter is in the technical state of delivery of the Air Force G-8 search and rescue helicopter. A model adjusted to meet the mission requirements of airborne troops such as assault transportation. It is mainly used to carry out troop maneuvers in airborne combat areas, collection and forwarding of weapons and equipment. ammunition and supplies, field rescue and evacuation and transfer of sick and wounded, and other tasks. It can carry out tasks under complex weather conditions day and night. It can carry 25 to 30 armed paratroopers in each sortie in the passenger and cargo compartment, or collect and transport 3 to 4 airdrops. The carrying and external hanging weight is 4,000 kilograms. It has certain self-defense capabilities. In addition, in order to take into account the transportation support needs of field rescue of the wounded and sick and flood fighting and rescue tasks, equipment such as air broadcast alarms, hydraulic winches, life-saving chairs, stretchers, medical staff tables and chairs, and lifeboats are configured in proportion. After Su Tao heard the noise from the rescue helicopter, he pointed the signal gun directly into the sky and pulled the trigger. In order to make it easier for the driver to find the target, he unplugged the safety of the red smoke bomb at the corner of the building and threw it directly on the ground. Red smoke slowly rose. At this moment, Kai Wenjie, who was on the other side, also heard the sound of the rescue helicopter. Putting down the VSS that was used to snipe zombies, he stood up and went to the sunroof vent of the bus. He put his feet on the seat and used his upper body to check the situation through the window. Curious female students also came to the window and looked at the sky. A black helicopter flew in the sky. Although Kai Wenjie didn't know much about helicopters, the appearance was almost a derivative of the Z-8. Kai Wenjie looked at the helicopter with some doubts. People had been rescued by him, so what use would it be to send a rescue helicopter now? While Kai Wenjie was stroking his chin and thinking, the girls also saw the rescue helicopter. They all shouted desperately and waved their arms, trying to attract the attention of the helicopter pilot above. It happened that the rescue helicopter pilot and co-pilot also noticed the large and small vehicles on the road below. The main pilot is Bai Feng, and the co-pilot is Zhou Xing. They graduated from the same flight academy, enlisted in the army at the same time, and became pilots at the same time. It can be said that they are like brothers. The person who first discovered the situation below was Bai Feng. After discovering a vehicle driving on the road below, he was shocked at first and then motioned to Zhou Xing to look below. Zhou Xing, look at the road below. Are there 2 cars driving? How is it possible? Let me see. After Zhou Xing heard Bai Feng's reminder, although he didn't believe it, he still followed Bai Feng's line of sight and found 2 cars. No, there are actually people alive. I thought there were no more people alive in the city. By the way, I heard from my Air Force brother who flew a fighter plane before that he saw a bus and civilian armored vehicle during the bombing operation. Could it be them? Let's go over and take a look. Good. After Bai Feng finished speaking, he directly operated the rescue helicopter and approached the road where Kai Wenjie was. Kai Wenjie noticed that the black helicopter started to approach. Just in case, he bought individual anti-aircraft missiles in the system MAL. The full name is FN-16 Individually Portable Air Defense Missile Weapon System, which can also be referred to as FANU-16. FN-16 is the latest man-portable anti-aircraft missile weapon system developed by Country Z. It has omnidirectional attack, resistance to infrared interference and fire and forget capabilities. The price is as high as 2,000 points, which is equivalent to a complete set of tactical equipment worn by Kai Wenjie. Because the girls were all close to the window, no one noticed the FN-16 that Kai Wenjie had just bought on the bus. After Kai Wenjie purchased it, he did not directly aim at the helicopter, but received the FN-16 into the system space. After all, Kai Wenjie didn't buy the anti-aircraft missile to directly shoot down the helicopter, but just in case. Soon the rescue helicopter came over and kept the same speed as the bus 20 meters above the left side of the vehicle. Kai Wenjie could even see the driver's face clearly, and the helicopter pilots also saw Kai Wenjie and the girls waving their hands vigorously. Because Kai Wenjie was wearing a full set of tactical equipment and a mask and helmet on his head, Bai Feng and Zhou Xing mistakenly thought he was a special police officer on a mission. Bai Feng gave a friendly salute, and Kai Wenjie returned the salute. Although some of the salute movements were not standard, Bai Feng and Zhou Xing did not notice anything the same, and they thought it was due to the instability of the vehicle. Then he waved to the girls who were waving their arms, and then flew away. After all, Bai Feng and Zhou Xing still had their own tasks to complete. Besides, the people below were strictly speaking their own people, and they didn't look dangerous. It seems that the brother below has rescued a car of survivors and is rushing to the gathering place. He is really a man. Yes, and the car is full of the elderly, the weak, women and children. It's really hard for him. As they spoke, the two flew away from the sky above the bus and flew back to the destination. Kai Wenjie breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the rescue helicopter that had left. To be honest, he almost took out the anti-aircraft missile just now. It's not that Kai Wenjie was making a fuss, but because Kai Wenjie knew that the equipment he was wearing was a little unfamiliar. Although it looked no different from ordinary special police equipment from a distance, he could still find some differences if he looked at it up close. He was afraid that the helicopter pilot would think he was a mercenary from abroad and blow him up with a missile. Fortunately. When Kai Wenjie breathed a sigh of relief, the girls looked at the rescue helicopter flying away and felt unhappy. After all, running on the ground can never compare with flying in the sky. Running on the ground may bring you some close contact with zombies, but flying in the sky is safer. After all, no zombies can fly. If Kai Wenjie knew what these girls were thinking, he would just laugh.